for shipping for a while anyway.
And this one is going to be about Sarah and Jareth from the 1980 cult classic movie Labyrinth.
So, their relationship in canon, at least that we see, starts with Jareth watching her lark in the park. Then Sarah wishes her baby brother away to goblins. He comes and, because she wants her brother back and tries to convince her otherwise, he throws a snake at her.
Yeah.
You know, imagery there.
Mm-hmm.
Then, because she very much wants her brother back, he sets up a challenge for her to do.
She has 13 hours to
Travel through a labyrinth and get to the castle in the center. They meet up a couple of times during that, where taunting ensues. She meets a goblin in the labyrinth called Hoggle, who Jareth threatens that if she ever kisses Hoggle, he'll make Hoggle prince of the
Land of Stench, which
Yeah.
he's talking about the Fog of Eternal Stench.
Yeah, it's not a pleasant place.
No.
And then he gives Hoggle this peach, tells him to make sure Sarah eats it. That eventually happens, and Sarah gets like this fever dream where she's at this party, and Jareth is there, and they end up dancing, and yeah. But she gets out of it and meets up with her friends again, including a remorseful Hoggle. And they storm into the castle, and she goes to save her brother.
And
Jareth again tries to convince her otherwise, and what is it that he says?
He says, just fear me, love me, do as I say, and I will be your slave.
Yeah.
But Sarah says the
No,
line that she always forgot,
in her LARPing play.
which was, you have no power over me, and
She wins, she and her brother go home, she has a dance party ending with the friends she made in the labyrinth, where Jareth, who is once again an owl, as he was in the beginning of the film watching her, is watching them through her window.
mm-hmm. And then he flies off.
Yes. So that's it for canon. There's also, well, there's going to be a sequel movie, but we don't know much more about it other than there's going to be a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
And there was also this comic book series that came out a few years ago, although I honestly don't know how canon that is.
And the comic mainly focused on Toby, although Sarah and Jareth were key characters in it. But, so, basically, he makes this, thank you, he steals her dreams, and he makes...
Well, there's this previously in the comics established ability where you can yank a particular part of a person out and make them like into their own physical person. He did that with Sarah for her dreams of, you know, being an actress and stuff.
Yep.
And
so he made this creature who he called Moppet, but see, unlike, just like how Sarah couldn't look,
rejected him,
Moppet rejected him too. Not the same way, but she was always asking him questions, and she never showed any actual love toward him. So that depressed him. And
so he sent her away too. And he comes back, like he uses the Toby thing to get to Sarah again, because he takes Toby to the underground and makes him the king there.
Mm-hmm.
But we won't get into that because that's not important for this video. But he does go after Sarah again, but ultimately she once again rejects him.
And it's not the same this time. I mean, he's not waxing poetic. He just basically asks her to stay, but she tells him that she can't because she's not the same person anymore.
She grew up.
And she asked him to let her go, and he does, but he will in exchange for one thing from her, and that one thing is a kiss. So
She gives him that, and she gets to go. So that's how that ends, basically. Um, so that's it for what the relationship entails. So now we get into the fan and stuff. So interestingly enough, a lot of if you go onto tvtropes.org, the quote for Villainous Crush is a quote from Jareth. And so I thought that was, like, that's the page quote for it, a line of his. A lot of the original songs David Bowie wrote for the show itself is also love songs, basically, from Jareth to Sarah.
Yep.
There's quite a few of them in there which fans are quick to notice and use. So it's a relationship, despite that it was never really a serious thing in canon. And it's serious business to the fans. A lot of people ship them.
A lot of fan fiction, because I have read quite a few for Labyrinth, does take place when she is older, usually like right after she finishes college, and she ends up going back sometimes because the Labyrinth and the Underground and Jareth are in trouble, and she's the only one who can save them all because she's
there's
the
lots
champion.
of reasons. She just gets accidentally sucked in, or her brother goes again by accident.
But she
I
usually
even read one where her stepmother wished her away, and she got to the Labyrinth in that regard. But there's a lot of different, fanfics, a lot of different ways. But the gist of it is she winds up in the Labyrinth again, and therefore, usually as an older person, therefore her relationship with Jareth takes a different dynamic because she's not just a child.
Usually in a lot of the ones I've read, though, she usually does realize that she did love him, and she always did love him. That the circumstances just didn't work out because her brother.
That's not what a lot of the fanfics I've read on. I've read it like if they do, and they don't always in the fanfics I read, but in the ones they do, she didn't love him back then, but it grows into that.
Or I've read that too. Either or.
Which I think is a healthier thing in all honesty, but that's not the point. So as we said, fans love this pairing.
I think a lot of them want to.
Like if you find a Labyrinth fanfic, more often than not, it will at least subtly ship them.
I think a lot of people want to view her in their fan fictions as his match.
I guess. So then there's what we think.
For what little we can get out of this pairing, because again, we just have the movie and the comic series, which we don't even know is canon, like we said, but I think that if this were to happen when she was older, because keep in mind she's a 15-year-old girl, that they definitely could have worked. But even with that in mind, the little moments that they have, a lot of them are kind of cute. So, although, granted,
I think they come off as stalkery. That's just me.
Well, no, it is definitely a little bit of stalkery. I mean, the ball scene is nice until you realize she's hallucinating. And he kind of drugged her.
Roofied her.
He roofied her.
It's not kind of. He roofied her.
Oh, actually, yeah, that's not cool. I mean,
well, my opinion is, I like it when he likes her, but I don't always. It really depends upon like the specific piece of fiction I'm reading. But I don't always like it when she likes him back. But I do like the dynamic when he likes her. I don't know, because like I think a big part of her character is getting away from him, and some people just have her running right back, and it's like,
yeah, that doesn't always look good.
even if it's years later and she's older and wiser and more content with herself, it just, I don't always ship them. It really does depend upon
How it's written.
how it's portrayed, and on like looking outside of that, like what I think in my own headspace. I don't really know how I feel about it personally. Like I said, I like it when he likes her, but I don't always like it when she likes him. I know that's a bit confusing, and I love the movie. I'd watch it like over and over again, but I honestly just don't know how into the idea I am that she'd like him back. From when I read fanfics, like I said, it's more depending upon how it's portrayed. But I find myself, when I read those things, usually rooting for her to get away than to fall in love with him.
Mhm.
So,
I mean, I think it's also. Plus, not to mention, I don't know how you reacted when you first saw the movie, but when he said, "Fear me, love me, do what I say, and I'll be your slave," I was just like, what? What does that mean?
I don't know.
And I think I first saw the movie for the first time when I was 10, so I was just like,
You were 10?
yeah.
I was like in high school, I think, the first time I saw it.
Oh no, wait, I was 13 actually, I'm sorry. I was 13.
It's a little better.
I was 13 but I was like, what? Be my slave? Slavery is wrong. I don't want to
That's
say.
where your head went to?
Yes.
Oh my god, young you.
Young me was naive.
Very naive. I guess that's it, because I'm gonna make fun of her a lot in the coming minutes, and you don't need to see that.
Yeah, but so yeah, that's Sarah and Jareth.
Yep.
So yeah, this ends couples month for us. We'll definitely talk more about shipping in the future. We just don't know when yet.
So if you haven't seen Labyrinth with David Bowie and Jennifer Connelly, you really, really should. It is very good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, seriously, come on. Cult classic. Cult classic? Does that not make you want to watch?
Okay then. So we'll see you in next month. We haven't decided what the topic's going to be for that, but hopefully we'll figure that out soon.
Yep, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Tumblr. Same as the channel name, Fire Dragon and Water Fairy, and we'll have something new and exciting for you in March.
Yep. So see you then. For now, bye.
Bye.